Hey folks, this is Wayne S. Pierce for my website, waynesPierce.com. How are you? It's the 22nd of September 2017. I want to address something that really I've been thinking about for the last couple of days and really didn't know how to address this situation, but I think I'll just start out by saying first the subject matter is about prejudice and prejudicial judgments of people. It's kind of like being intolerant and having a reason to be, right? And thinking it's right. Okay, so I want to address that. Let me turn down some sounds here. Let me just not blow your eardrums out and mine either. So anyway, I put up on my Facebook page, Wayne S. Pierce, a comment. And I said, here's a thought. I'll tell you later why I bring this up if I get enough responses. What's the acceptable age difference between a man and a woman who are either starting a relationship or in a full-blown relationship? For instance, Celine Dion and her late husband Renee Angelil were 31 years apart. Harrison Ford and Callista Flockhart are 25 years apart. What is the right and acceptable age for two people to be together? I got a funny response from someone on that as well. I look at it this way. If two people, here I'll start out answering the question of what the right and acceptable age is from my personal perspective. I believe that no matter what, two people who find themselves being attracted to each other and who have a significant age difference shouldn't concern themselves so much with the age difference, because it's not so much that they need or want or desire. I believe it's the companionship, the love, the kindness, the joy that they feel when they're together. And I think age is just a number in that regard toward, in regard to the relationship itself. But I also think that there should be some common sense involved. I think there should be some, at some level, there should be a point at which you say, okay, yes, I understand there's an age difference, but, so there's that thing to consider as well. But there's also, from my point of view, from my perspective, that moment where you say, I love this person no matter what. I don't care how old they are. It doesn't matter to me. Is that a part of your thought process? So, when you look at the age difference of two people, and you examine why these two people are together, here's where the prejudice comes into play. It comes into play by people who are prejudiced of that relationship or soon-to-be relationship because they are filled with preconceived ideas that literally are based upon an environment they grew up in, which, of course, was very restricted or very conservative or of that, something of that nature. So these two people who are together get the brunt of these people's prejudice toward them, and they feel uncomfortable. They feel that they have fallen out of favor with people, or whatever it may be, any number of reasons. Being prejudiced, the definition is unfavorable opinion or feeling formed beforehand or without knowledge, thought, or reason. Unreasonable feelings, opinions, or attitudes, especially of a hostile nature regarding an ethic, racial, social, or religious group. The first one, the unfavorable opinion or feeling formed beforehand or without knowledge, thought, or reason. Basically a preconceived idea. And at that point, we have to understand that the group or the other couple or another person who is being prejudiced toward this couple or would-be couple is totally unwarranted. It's totally unwarranted because, there is no reason why anyone should disagree or have something against two people loving one another. Now, where do I see this prejudice? Where do I see this, well, that's all I can think of is prejudice. Where do I see this coming from? From people calling themselves liberal. I'm not throwing politics in here. I'm just showing you and telling you what I'm seeing from my own observations. That when you look at people like, well, for instance, Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas. They're 25 years apart, I think 23 years apart, something like that. And you wonder, geez, he's going to, you've got so many thoughts running through your mind that you really don't just stop and say, wait a minute, are they in love? Are they, companions to one another? Are they there supportive one another? This kind of thing. You have to look at the situation to understand why they are together. Callista Flockhart, Harrison Ford, 25 years apart. Do they love one another? Of course they do. Celine Dion and her late husband, Renee Angelil, were 31 years apart. Did they love one another? Of course they did. So are you going to discount that over the fact that they have an age difference? To me, that's no. To me, that's totally wrong. That's prejudicial toward that couple. You have a couple who loves one another, cares for one another, enjoys one another. They have a lot in common, or they may not have a lot in common, but they are together because they have an affinity for one another and who feel that they can and do have, each other's back. They feel as if they can support one another. I'm not talking financially, I'm talking emotionally and all that. So when you look at that, and you look at two people who have an age difference, why are you being so prejudicial? I don't get it. I don't understand it. In my own personal life, I'm 9 years older than my significant other. And that's kind of strange because my grandfather was 9 years older than my grandma, my dad's parents. And I've known people who were 9, 10, 12, 15, 20 years apart. And they loved one another and they cared for one another and families grew out of that. So my point about the age difference is, why be so prejudicial about it? Why be so, bent out of shape that two people have an age difference? Okay? I don't get it. Now, let me go back to the definition of prejudice. An unfavorable opinion or feeling formed beforehand, and I emphasize that myself, or without knowledge, thought, or reason. I'm at dictionary.com, and the synonym is preconception, I emphasize that myself, partiality, predilection, predisposition, bias, or influence. I told you there was a preconceived idea that people have about two people who have an age difference. Now, I will put this link on my personal Facebook page. The Wayne S. Pierce on Facebook. You can find me there. I'll put that on there. And you will see it for yourself. I encourage you to go look at dictionary.com and look at my personal Facebook page at Wayne S. Pierce. Now, someone else answered that. Let me tell you again what I posted on my Facebook page. Here's a thought. I'll tell you all later why I bring this up if I get enough responses. What's the acceptable age difference, I should say? What is the acceptable age difference between a man and a woman who are either starting a relationship or in a full-blown relationship? For instance, Celine Dion and her husband, late husband, Renee Angelil, were 31 years apart. Harrison Ford and Callista Flockhart are 25 years apart. What is the right and acceptable age for two people to be together? Well, somebody jokingly wrote to a 98-year-old woman who just won $598 million Powerball, "Sup, baby?" Yeah, that's a joke. Of course, Anna Nicole Smith and stuff like that. Another response from a friend of mine said, there is no quote-unquote right. There's no reason to discuss this in order to look for a right or wrong answer. And my friend said, I will add, I believe that age differences only matter when one of the people isn't old enough legally. It's a good point. It's a very good point. And I just told my friend that. Good point. But here's the thing. In your own personal way, in your own personal understanding, from your own personal perspective, how you perceive, remember the preconception, how you perceive these two people, this difference of age, what is going through your mind when you have that prejudicial behavior upon those two people who have a definite difference in age. Okay. I know that a lot of people have their own personal perspective on certain things, so I want to hear from you. You can email me at WayneSPierce@USA.com. WayneSPierce@USA.com. You can also go to my Facebook page and post on there, Wayne S. Pierce on Facebook. Check it out, and I will talk to you folks later. Have a good day. Bye.